grocery savings app, Favado, produced by Savings.com and Valpak, and I'm really excited to be here with you tonight to talk about how we can increase your grocery IQ. What type of grocery shopper are you? Do you consider yourself a savvy grocery shopper? Do you consider yourself a savvy saver when it comes to shopping in the grocery store? So we're going to talk about just where we're at with grocery shopping these days, as well as different courses. Produced by Savings.com and Valpak, and I'm really Somebody needs to kill the YouTube link. Sorry. We are going to talk tonight just about where grocery shopping is today, what prices are looking like in grocery stores, and I hear and read things about how produce prices and meat prices are on the rise these days, and just ways that we can continue to combat the rising prices and still be really smart with the money that we have to spend at the grocery store. I am really excited tonight to get to talk to you about some of the really cool resources that are out there that will help you spend less of your hard-earned money at the grocery store. And I'm also thrilled to get to talk with Jen and Sia from Thrifty Northwest Mom. They're a great team, and we're going to just, talk with them, ask them some real pointed questions, get their insight and input on what it means to save big at the grocery store. And then we also want to hear from you. We want to know what questions you have. If you have a question for myself or for Jen or Sia, you can post it on the Google Plus events page, the Increase Your Grocery IQ events page. Or if you're watching live on the YouTube page, you can also post it in the chat. There's a little chat box off to the side. You can post your questions in there, and we'll be checking those throughout the rest of the hour, and we'll get to those in a little while. So I think that we are still having a handful of technical difficulties getting Sia on the line, but we're going to start with Jen, and I am going to ask Jen, when it comes to couponing, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you could give somebody who's a new couponer, new to the whole grocery savings space, if you could give them one piece of advice on where to get started or how to get started, or maybe 2 or 3 pieces, wherever it goes, what would that advice be, Jen?
Okay, well, my #1 piece of advice always in my coupon classes is to start small. I think people get excited about couponing. Maybe they're reading, some of our different coupon blogs, and they think, oh, I'm going to just go out there and try all these different transactions and different deals to try to get all these things for free. So my best advice is to really just kind of start small and pick one store to start at. So, just pick one store, either a drugstore or a grocery store, whichever store that you already feel comfortable at, and really learn the coupon policies for that store. So really learn the policies, how many coupons they allow, if they allow internet coupons, all those different things. You want to learn everything you can about the store policies, and also find out if they have digital coupons. If they have digital coupons that you can use, if they allow printable coupons, all those different things you want to learn, and what their store coupons are like. So really start small. When I first started about probably 6 or 7 years ago, I just started with maybe just a couple deals that I wanted to try out. I went to the store, I had everything printed out, all my coupons all ready to go, and I just went to the store and just did like 1 or 2 deals at a time. So I just started from there and just worked my way up. And the big thing is, when you're starting small, is to really think about items that your family can use the most. So, I know a lot of things just like, oh, well, this is free, or, just looking at, are you really going to use, like that much ketchup or that many, of the different items. So think about the items that you use the most to make meals for your family, and items that you like, the brands that you like, and start with those deals first. And just start small and think about what makes the most sense for your family. So that's definitely my biggest tip for new couponers.
I think that's fantastic advice, because everybody really is in a different situation, right? Like, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with meal planning? Do you want to start with couponing? Do you want to start with just, figuring out how to spend less at the grocery store? So I love the start small and just figure out what works for you. I know for some people, they're just huge Walgreens fans, let's say, and they want to start spending less of their, grocery dollars by getting free toothpaste and razors and deodorant and all those things at Walgreens. Well, stick to that for a while until you figure out your system and what works for you before you go all crazy trying to figure out all three of the all three of the major drugstores. And what the ECB system is different at CVS than the Balance Rewards system, which we've all recently learned is new at Walgreens. So I think that that's fantastic advice. And really, really helpful for people who are really wanting to, get started, saving big and getting to that, 40, 50, 60% savings mark on groceries. So
Definitely.
we talked a little bit about drugstores and just here quickly and starting small. But what about, Jen, what do you think about suggestions for like dinner type foods, healthier foods, or foods on the outside aisle, not the aisles, on the outer perimeter of the grocery store, fresh meat, produce, organic products? Like, what ideas and suggestions do you have for saving on those particular products?
Well, I think that's kind of, a myth that there's only coupons and deals and savings available for the processed items, and that was more a few years ago, but we've really seen a lot of the stores and the manufacturers are really putting out coupons and store sales and promotions for a lot of different things like the meat, the produce, the organic items, and whatnot. So my first tip would be to really know your prices. So I suggest, even creating like a little price book, and basically it could just be like a little notebook that you keep in your purse and just keep track of all those different things that you buy the most for your family. So what kinds of cuts of meat do you like the best? What type of produce and whatnot, and just kind of follow, and write down every week what the prices are for those items. If it's asparagus and grapes and those different things, see what the prices are each week. And so if you do that for about a month or two, you can start to know when are the best prices going to be, for those items. And then when they go on sale, then you know that that's the time to stock up. So you can really, just by knowing those prices for the items that your family buys the most, that can make a big difference, in knowing when there is a good sale. So that's my number one tip. My next tip is really look for those markdowns. There are certain times of week you just have to ask your grocery store, ask the meat manager or the produce manager, and find out when they mark down the produce, the meat, the dairy, those types of items, and try to get to the store right when it happens that day. So just look for those bright red clearance stickers. That's what I keep my eye out. Whenever I'm scanning in the store, I'm always on the lookout for those red clearance stickers. So if you find something on clearance, oftentimes that means that it's getting close to the sell-by date. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it, because if it's meat, you can go ahead and package it up. If it's in a large quantity, repackage it, into 1 pound or 2 pound or however many, quantities that you want, and repackage it and freeze it. Also with produce, if there's a great markdown, on clearance produce, maybe you can't use all of it at once, you don't want it to go to waste, then chop it up and freeze it. Just put it in the freezer and you can use it, later for meals. So that's one big thing, is to look for those manager markdowns on meat, produce, dairy, all those different things. Again, like I said, shop the sales cycles, and also, with organic items and produce, we're actually seeing a lot more coupons available. I know our store, Safeway, I use a lot. They have digital coupons, so you can get them on your app, you can get them online, and those have some really great produce coupons. Today I actually just redeemed a coupon where it was spend $8 on organic products, and then I got a 2 times the gas reward. So it's something kind of different. I'm actually saving on my gas, but it's helping my overall savings by doing that. So just getting creative and looking for different ways to save. Like I'm saving on the gas there. I'm looking for those coupons through the stores. Also with manufacturers, there can be a lot of different coupons available from your favorite manufacturers. So think about writing them an email, send them a Facebook message, let them know that you love their products, and they might send you some coupons. So that's another way to do it. Also, just kind of thinking outside the box of different places that you might be able to find items, like Costco. I found that that's a great place for me to find some of my produce. Now you have to buy it in bulk, so again, that's where the freezing comes into place, where you might be freezing, the produce into smaller sections, but that can be something that can be great for meat or produce or dairy. So that's one way. And just looking at some of those smaller grocery stores, or like in the summer, the farmers markets and things like that, just looking at ways that maybe you can go in with friends. If you have to buy like a 20 or 30 pound box of apples or whatnot, maybe you can split that with friends and get that lower price. So just being creative is, there's a lot of different opportunities out there to save on meat, produce, dairy, all those different items, organics. You just have to really just search it out. So.
Very cool, Jen. Those are some seriously amazing tips, and just hearing you talk as well and go through them, now I'm really hungry and I might need a second dinner. Oh, that's too funny. I was giggling to myself when you were talking about Costco, because I just bought, finally, mangoes are back in my Costco. I live in South Texas, so I don't know that they've hit the whole country yet, but I was thrilled, and I bought 2 boxes, and I think there's like 9 in each one, and we're almost out of them. And I'm like, it just makes me laugh, because mangoes is one of those produce that if I buy in bulk, I'm never going to have to freeze, because it's like candy for my kids.
That's awesome.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I mean, you have just really nailed a lot of awesome points. So I want to hear what your grocery planning process is like, and what tools and resources do you find helpful in the grocery planning process? I just want to hear your experience. What's
Sure.
it like for you?
Well, this year is kind of different for me. I have 2 girls, one in pre-kindergarten and then one in 2nd grade. And this year we are on the road like all day long, it seems like. I feel like I'm driving all day, every day. So my grocery planning has really had to change this year, which is a good thing. It's actually helping me to be much more, I'm really having to plan a lot more ahead of time. But basically, so what we do, and we're also really trying to eat healthier and look for those, organic products more and produce. So just trying to really plan out our meals ahead of time. I'll admit I was not the best at this before, but now I'm really having to rely on those meal plans more. So on the weekends, my husband and I are really trying to think about what are the healthier meals that we want to try to serve during the week, and then trying to look at the ads to see, what's on sale. What's on sale for produce and meat. For us, for meat, we kind of stock up on the meat, when it goes on sale, so we have quite a bit of that. But looking at that fresh produce is really important to us right now. So just trying to see what's on sale at the stores, to look at what to use with our meals. So we kind of plan our meals based on what's on sale at the stores, as well as what we have in our freezer and in our pantry. So basically we plan out those meals, and then also during the week we're writing down items on the fridge, as we run out of items. But then, I just go through and I look for, the stores that I think that we're going to be close at, and what's going to have the best deals as far as the meals that we're looking for. And I look for the, I go ahead and I print off the deals that I'm looking for and get my coupons ahead of time the night before, or a lot of times I'm so busy that I just bring my coupon box with me, and that's where I actually use the Favado app. And if I'm out and about, which happens a lot more than often, I try to plan ahead, but a lot of times I happen to be out and I've got that box of coupons with me, and so I can just look and say, okay, we're near this store, so what do they have on sale that I can use right then, and so I'm able to grab my coupons from my box right then. So it's partly trying to really get better at the menu planning and planning ahead, but also we have just those times when we run out of things, and I happen to be up and near the store, and we live about 20 minutes away from most stores, so that's where that definitely comes in handy.
Very cool. So what would you call your biggest grocery shopping? What would you call your grocery shopping wins? Like, what do you feel like when it comes to grocery shopping you do really well?
Well, I think, like I said, this year, since January, our focus has really been on trying to find a lot of those fresh produce deals and the organic items, and that's something that's new for us. And so we've really been a lot more creative in trying to find all those different options. Like I mentioned, trying to look at the manufacturers and contact them for coupons, really trying to rely on trying to meal plan ahead of time and look for those ingredients that we need to buy for the week. So it's definitely, we've been trying to look for lots of different options of where to look for those deals, looking at the smaller stores and, looking for those organic items that might be on sale at that time, and then Costco, for some of those items, and really trying to buy in bulk more and freeze ahead or do batch cooking, trying to make more food and then freeze that too as well. So that's something that we've really been focusing on this year.
I love it. That is very cool, and it's just great to hear your experience and what's working for you, and hopefully that will help others in incorporating either healthier foods or more organic products. I love the tips too about Costco. I know they have a great selection of organic products that are very comparable, if not better, than even the traditional grocery stores. At least that's the case for the prices that I see in my area. So I wanted to share, and I'll go into a question for you. I shared this a couple weeks ago, but when it comes to grocery shopping, I have no trouble with dinner. I have no trouble with snacks. I'm sorry, with breakfast or lunch. I mean, that's easy peasy. But let me tell you, when my boys get home from school, it is like a frenzy, chaos, freaky, crazy mess of eating after school. And snacks, yeah. And they're not even that old yet, almost 9 and almost 7, right, for my older two, and then my 2 little ones don't eat quite as much. But it is just chaos, and I just literally just watch the dollar signs add up as they're eating bowl after bowl after bowl of cereal, which I try to bake. Busy mom. I try. It works better some weeks than others. So I think that would be my biggest frustration with grocery shopping, is how to balance that convenience with cost when it comes to the after school snacks in particular. Other parts of eating and grocery shopping and saving on toiletries and health and beauty and all those things, I don't have any trouble with. But I want to know, is there anything that's particularly frustrating about grocery shopping for you?
I think for me, it's really just that living farther away, we just have one store in my town, so I am not a planner. I'm a spontaneous person, so it really has, just with all the driving we're doing this year and everything, that I'm really having to try to plan more, the night before or on the weekends, to really plan out, like I said, those meals and those snacks and those dinners. With my kids, we're in the car constantly, so all they want to do is eat. So I totally have the same problem. They always want to eat, so trying to keep those snacks with me and have healthier snacks, so it's not always the convenience foods. That's tough for me too. But that's, again, where I have to rely on those tools to help me, when I do forget to plan, the night before, to be able to still save money just by, looking at, which store has the best prices on the items that I need. So that's been the biggest thing for me, is just lack of time, in our busy schedule, trying to make sure that we're planning ahead of time, so that we're not spending extra money, for things that we could have gotten for a better deal at a different store.
I think that's spot on, the whole time is money concept as well, right? And how to balance that, because I could spend hours and hours and hours on end, baking muffins or banana bread, which I can do pretty easily. I can slip one or the other. But if we're going to do a big old thing where we're going to bake for several weeks, that's certainly harder to squeeze into a busy schedule. The other thing too that I've seen, and I've actually done it on occasion, and when I'm having a stellar week and I'm way ahead of myself, I will get the veggies chopped ahead of time. Even if it's dinner food, I'll get the onions all chopped at once ahead of time. But that's when I am top of my game, and I can't say that is with the rate that life is flying by at this point. It is hard to keep up with with all of those things, and just, like you've said, being one step ahead of yourself so that the cost and the convenience is balanced well, so you don't feel like you're overspending and whatnot. So I want to put you on the spot, Jen, really quickly. Something I was actually having a conversation with about earlier today, and how it's sort of seeping out in the media, and we'll see how far it goes, but the cost of meat is on the rise. There are several droughts across the country, which is hard to believe given all the insane snow that we've seen in so many different parts of the country, but that is driving up the cost of beef. And so I'm just curious, we talked a little bit about this, but I'm just curious if you have any specific tips on how to save on fresh beef, chicken, pork, anything that you would find at the meat counter.
Sure. Well, actually, one of my tips is, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this. I actually just picked up my Zaycon chicken today. Zaycon Foods that's how we get most of our chicken and whatnot. So that's a great way to save if it's available, in your area. But that's our biggest tip for saving. We buy in bulk in these 40-pound boxes, and then we have to go to the work of packaging everything up into smaller portions, but that's a great way for us to save. But again, I'm surprised that there really have been a lot more coupons for meat, especially at the stores that I've been shopping at. So it's really just paying attention and looking for those deals on meat, because we've definitely had, again, it's like if you spend $20 you might get $5 off if you buy a certain kind of meat or whatnot. So looking for those deals. Like I said, buying in bulk, if you buy in those extreme value packs, a lot of times you'll find a better deal than if you're buying the smaller portions. So we just, we have a food saver, but you don't have to have one. You can just, repackage into Ziploc bags and, just do like 1 or 2 pound packages, whatever you're going to need for your family. Also, if we buy in bulk, we'll sometimes cook it up right away. So we'll, like tonight, we might put some of the chicken in the crock pot to cook it up right away, to have it ready for meals. The ground beef, I'll cook it up, to have taco meat and put that in the freezer. So that's another way to use that buying in bulk to save. But those are definitely, just looking for those coupons and those deals, because there really are a lot more available, than there were a few years ago. I think stores are really realizing that we're looking for those, the best deals, and so they want to draw you to their store, so they're offering a lot more store coupons and promotions.
I love it. I think that is fantastic advice, and definitely some great nuggets of wisdom there for people to be looking out for in their areas, and definitely be talking to your meat managers, figuring out, when they mark things down, and making sure you're taking advantage of the most savings if you are shopping at the grocery store, if you don't have the bulk options as well. I think it's another great way to, I talked to, I think I was at Sprouts, which is a small regional grocery store here, and I said, we just got into just a casual conversation while she was getting my meat ready, and I think it was a pork roast or something that was really like $1.49 a pound, which is my go-to price, right? And I said, and she said, oh, we have so much, we're not being able to move this. She's like, oh, but I'm not worried, because next week we're going to make handmade sausages and we'll sell them. And so, and then I knew, okay, well, I'm not going to get sausages this week. She just told me what the price is going to be next week, so I was able to get them the next week. So that, just don't be afraid to strike up a conversation too with the stores in your area. And everybody's situation is different, as we've commented. So. So another, a couple of other things. Yay, Sia's here. Yay! Let's wait for her video to all connect in, and then we will, we'll go back and ask her a couple questions. I wanted to jump in real quickly into just saving on food and a couple of tips, and then we'll answer a question from Carla, and then we'll probably go back to Sia just for this while we get this all connected here. So, a couple of, there are some really fantastic mobile apps out there for saving money on food, groceries, and beyond. And one of them I mentioned, I work with Favado. Favado is a grocery savings app that allows you to compare prices across your grocery stores. It allows you to search for a particular item. If you're running to a party and you need to grab a 2-liter of Coke, you can quickly, type in what it is you're looking for, and it'll tell you which store in the area has the best deal for that, that bottle of Coke or bag of chips or whatever it may be. You can also personalize it. So we are a Huggies family, so I have Huggies in there, so I can quickly see on the favorites tab which store or which drugstore has the best price on Huggies this week. So this the app is really phenomenal. It's powered by our fabulous network of bloggers who are all over the country, who are putting the information, matching the coupons in there every week. So it's just a really great, powerful savings tool. Another great one for saving when you're out and about, not at the grocery store, and I love it because I think it has the augmented reality where you can hold it up and it'll show you where the coupons are. But the Valpak app is awesome for restaurant coupons, I have found, and we've also discovered some really interesting restaurants that we probably wouldn't have tried before because of the offers that they had in the Valpak app. So I just wanted to throw those two out there as well, which is great because it leads into Carla's question about talking about other newer savings programs. Ibotta and Checkout 51. Jen, if it's okay with you, can I toss the whole the Checkout 51 and Ibotta concepts to you, and you can kind of walk through what those mean and how they can help people?
Sure, yeah. Both of those are newer apps, mobile apps that you can use, and they're great ways to save where you're getting the savings with cash back after your purchase. So basically, you go to the store and you make your purchase, and then when you get home, you can scan in the receipt as well as the UPC code for your product, and you're going to earn cash back. Now, with both of those, you want to look at the store ahead of time, either while you're in the store or before you go to the store, to see what products they're offering cash back on. But what I love about these, it's not just for the grocery stores. They actually now have restaurants where if you order certain items or spend a certain amount, you're going to get cash back on your purchase. Just make sure to keep that receipt. Also, even the movies, which I think is really cool. I've used it at the movies to earn cash back, just on our movie ticket to go to certain movies. So they're really a great way to save after the fact. So not only can you use coupons, manufacturer coupons and store coupons while you're in the store for savings, you can then also earn cash back savings as well.
That is a fantastic summary. I think that those two apps, they're great because you can combine, those cashback savings with, the other savings that you're getting in the store. Another one that Carla didn't ask about, but I wanted to include in here, and if we can get Sia on, well, I'm waiting to hear her. We're chatting back and forth. So. The Target and Cartwheel app concept. I feel like that is a phenomenal way to save. They even, my personal motto is, every penny counts, right? So when it comes to grocery spending, if you can save 5% on fresh berries, which is a coupon, it's a digital coupon that's often in the Cartwheel app, then save that 5%. Like, we buy strawberries almost every week. If it's not strawberries, it's blueberries to make muffins or whatever it may be. So take advantage of those savings. So I don't hear Sia yet. So Jen, do you want to take this one again? Do you want to talk about the Target Cartwheel app and the Target mobile app and how they can work together with other coupons from Target?
Sure. That's what I love now about Target is there's really triple the savings right now. Basically at Target, what you can do is you can use manufacturer coupons either from your coupon inserts in the newspaper or printable coupons. So those are for the manufacturer's products, and you can combine those with Target store coupons, and those are what you find either online you can find at the Target.com website, or you can also get them on the Target mobile app. So I just got a little text message today reminding me that I haven't used my Target mobile coupons yet, which is awesome. So you just sign up for mobile alerts, and they send you a text message with just probably around 10 or so coupons. So those are Target store coupons. So you use those manufacturer coupons with the Target store coupons, and then they've added the Target Cartwheel app. So you can use it either online or as a mobile app, and you can combine that with the Target store coupons as well as the manufacturer coupons. So it's really like a trifecta of savings there, because you have all those different ways to save at Target. So I love it. A lot of times people think, oh, it's just, like you said, 5% here or there. It's not that much, but every penny counts. And when you're stacking that on top of those Target store coupons and those manufacturer coupons, that really can add up to some good savings. So I love Target for that.
Yeah, I love it too. I think I saw I can't remember who, or I saw a picture today, maybe it was Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, like somebody was scoring like all the discounted Valentine's candy with coupons and Cartwheel coupons. It was like 24 cents a bag or something like that. I can't remember the exact specifics, but that's exactly how they were doing it. They were kind of stacking it all together and really getting the savings. So this kind of leads into another question, and we're really kind of going off topic here, but we'll just, as we wait, if anybody else has any questions, drop them on the event page or the YouTube page. We're checking that regularly. We want to help you. We're here to help you. We're here to help you increase your grocery IQ and helping you be a savvier shopper. So we want to answer your questions while we're all here together. So another question that we would have is, how do you keep all of this straight? Like, how do you manage the paper coupons, the coupons that you can print from the internet, the digital coupons we were just talking about from either Ibotta or Checkout 51, the Target, like that is a whole lot. And we talked earlier about taking it slow, starting with one store, but when you get into it, I mean, this can be a lot. So do you have any advice or tips, or maybe you could share your organizational system for, how you keep up with all of these coupon options, I guess?
Sure. Well, as far as the coupons that come from the paper and printable coupons, basically, when I first started, I was really into clipping all the coupons, and I used a coupon box. That was something that I used, and really, it's all about finding what works for you. I lead a pretty busy life. I'm always on the go, so I found quickly that I really wasn't keeping up with clipping my coupons. So now what I do is I have just a file box. I was looking to see if I had one here, but I have a file box, and I just keep my coupon inserts that come from the paper. I keep those together whole, but I write the date of the insert, and so that way I keep all the inserts in a box so that I have them, but then I keep them in the box, and then when I find that something's on sale at the stores, I can just quickly grab that insert, cut out that coupon right when I need it. So that's what I was talking about, the planning ahead of time. So you can just do this the night before, or maybe the morning before you go to the store that afternoon, is using the list, and that's where these printable lists are great. Like we offer on our site and a number of other sites, where you just have a list of the sales that are going on at the store, and with a list of the coupons, and that's where Favado also has the sales that are going on at the store, the coupons that you need, and that's where I grab that file box, I clip out those coupons that I need, and then I'm ready to go. So then I just have a small little file folder that I bring with me in the car. Sometimes if I know that I'm going to be out shopping and I'm not prepared, I will bring that whole box, but typically I try to be prepared and just use a small little file folder with all my coupons ready to go for the items that I need for my meals that week, and that makes it a lot easier. As far as the mobile coupons, again, that's where, just being able to see those printable lists, or using Favado to see which mobile coupons I can combine, with those savings. So like Ibotta, I might be able to, I want to know before I go into the store which specific products to use. So I use those lists to help me come up with my own grocery list.
Perfect. I love it. And I think that, it goes back to like what you were saying, kind of organizational personality. Your box system is awesome. You're on the go. It's always with you. I've used a number of different methods, from the kind of the accordion folder that's a smaller, to the large binder that takes up, the entire baby seat of the cart at the grocery store. And I've kind of gone back and forth, kind of depending, like you said, what season of life I'm in, and how much extra time. I say, I probably spend 25 to 30 minutes a week, maintaining the coupons and the meal plan, and then building the grocery list. I usually use the Favado app to do that, unless I'm really in a pinch, and whatever. So anyways, I want to see if we can hear Jen, because I think that I heard her. I'm going to see Jen. I'm sorry, Sia. Sia, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, yay. So we can hear you, and we know your video's not working, which is okay, but we can hear you. So we want to know, do you have a tab open in the background?
No. Is it the sound funny?
I was just hearing a reverb.
Let's see. No, I just have this one. Are you still hearing it?
Let me just ask the question and you can go for it. So the question is, we've been talking about organizing coupons.
Is that my sound?
I think it's mine. Maybe not.
Okay, is that better?
Do you have a YouTube video open?
No, I don't have any videos open.
Okay. How do you organize your coupons?
Okay. And I would love to talk about organizing coupons. Can I really quickly jump back to your meat question, because I know it's such a big one and I wasn't able to participate during that. But one of my favorite tips that not everybody is aware of is that many of the meat departments, get to know your meat department folks, because they'll actually cut and in some stores grind your meat if it doesn't have cartilage for free. So one way that I use that tip to save money on my meat is, for example, if a large pork loin is on sale, family size, I'll go ahead and get it for around $1.89 a pound, and I'll have them cut it in half, so I have my pork loin, and then I'll also have them cut some pork chops off for me, and then they'll even ground it in many stores, so I'll have some ground pork to season up and make some sausage with, all at that same low price that pork loin was on sale. And the other thing that grocery stores will often do is they'll provide you the seasonings for those meats for free too. So that's a really great tip. A little bit off topic, but it's helped me save a lot of money with my meat. But as far as organizing coupons, I love the fact that things are moving digitally. It makes it so much easier for me being on the go. One of my challenges is time, which I think is probably the same with a lot of busy moms. So apps like the Favado app, the Safeway app, having the notes section in there to be able to create your list. So I still do use a paper folder, and I just use a little binder on the go, but for me it's so much easier to have all of that set up electronically, so when I'm picking my son up from driver's class and he's getting out late, or I've got one of the kids in a sports activity, I can sit there and make my list and clip my coupons online right there, all in the front seat of my car.
I love that.
Oh.
Thea, can you mute?
I will, yeah.
Okay, I am sorry about that, the reverb there, and our two icons not liking each other. So that's a fantastic tip about the pork line, and we, getting to know your meat manager so they can help you get what you need for your family, for your food for that week as well. So I just wanted to throw out there one more time before we kind of bring this to a close. If anybody has any questions, you can drop them on the Valpak Increase Your Grocery IQ event page on Google+, or if you're watching live on YouTube, you can drop a note in the chat box there as well, and we are watching those. So if you have a question, please drop it in there, and we'll answer it here real quickly before we close that. But one last question. So the Favado app is really a really amazing, powerful grocery savings app, and I just wanted to hear from you guys what you love about it, how it's helping you, and how you think it can help those who are listening and watching. Do you want to take that one first, Jen?
Sure. I think like Sia said, you know, and that's where a lot of times I am on the go and sitting in my car with my phone. I love that, you know, having it mobile and being able to sit there and add items to your list. So if I know the store that I'm going to shop at, I'll look through like Safeway and I'll just add items to my list, you know, right there, and then I can sit, you know, and go through my coupons, and it saved me so much time being able to have that mobility, because I'm not home very often, that I need to be able to do things while I'm waiting for school to get out or whatnot. So I can make my list, and then the cool thing is you can email it to yourself. So even if you don't plan on going to the store that day, but you have that extra 10 minutes while you're sitting in the car by yourself, you can sit there, you know, go through, look at the items that you want to add to your list, and then email that list to yourself. You can go home and print it off, and it's great. I also love that I can give it to my husband. You know, I can email the list to him, so I can make my list, you know, put all those items on the list, and then say, hey, you've got more time than me. You know, maybe, and if he's able to stop at the store on the way, if he's near a closer store, then he can just take that list and be able to shop, and he loves it because it's just all laid out for him. He doesn't have to try to figure anything out. So that's what I love about it, just the convenience. It's great.
You are brave for sending your husband to the grocery store. I'm afraid of what my husband would come home with. That is too funny. Sia, do you want to share?
Sure, yeah. Everything that Jen said, but one other thing that I love to use it for is when